Hi, I wanted to make this video today more out of frustration than anything else. I received an email the other night from a really frustrated mother, and I can understand why. She'd finally managed to get her teenage daughter, so 19-year-old daughter, to go to the GP practice with her. And it was very much a plea for help from the mother's perspective, that the daughter was ready to accept that she very much knew she was suffering from an eating disorder and wanted some help. And as hard as it had been to reach that point, they went along to the GP practice, and the verdict they received from their GP was, actually your BMI isn't as low as one would need to be considered to have an eating disorder, so let's keep an eye on it and let's see you in a month's time. Now, I'm not sure about you, but my heart just absolutely sinks. You're sending somebody away who, in a moment of despair but complete candid acceptance, has decided to put themselves forward to a medical practitioner and say, I can't go on like this. With my mum's help, I am going forward to a medical practitioner to say that I believe myself to be suffering from an eating disorder. This young lady knew that she was binging, she was purging. She knew that she was in a state of mental hunger, and what we mean by mental hunger is thinking about food, obsessing about food, calories and energy expenditure all the time. She knew she was in that place. She knew that her mind and her body were not rationally organising themselves in the manner that they ought to be around anything to do with food and exercise. She put herself forward to a GP practitioner who, for all the best intentions perhaps, was following what is the accepted letter of the law around how we judge someone to either be in an eating disorder or not. This GP practitioner decided on the basis of BMI alone, this young lady was not suffering from an eating disorder. So what happens? This young lady with her mother leaves the GP practice. Thank God she has the support of a mother, of a family network that love and care for her. And actually, I know this to be the case, that this family will now go and find external help, and we'll be supporting them as best we can, and we've encouraged them to attend supportive suppers and some of our other workshops. I say this and I make this video because I want you to understand that the NHS service, the GP professionals out there, the registered nurse practitioners out there are doing their absolute best. They are doing everything they can to support people in the community who may be exhibiting signs of an eating disorder. They are helping as best they can, and it is their, God-given desire to see people well in their community. But the standard sort of practices around assessing someone with an eating disorder are still so rigidly centred around BMI, and it means we judge someone's physical appearance and their, the number on the scales as being a classification as to whether they are entrenched in an eating disorder or not. I say to you that that's not good enough. We all know that's not good enough. We know that things have to change. We know that eating disorders come in many shapes and sizes, as do our bodies. You do not have to be emaciated to be having an eating disorder. If you're having this experience, if you found it frustrating to get medical care, it's not the fault of one GP practice. It's not the fault simply of the NHS per se. It's that we are still using some very aged rules and regulations and assessment practices around how we judge eating disorders. We know them to be hugely complicated diseases. Of all mental health illnesses, this is the one with the highest mortality rate. We cannot afford to ignore how severe this illness is. So whether somebody is skirting around a normal BMI or actually even seems to be having, on paper, a reasonably healthy BMI for their body, if that person is in a state of restriction, or if that person is in a state of mental hunger because they are continually binging and purging or obsessing about food, it says to me that they are not in the size of body that they were meant to be in. It says to me that they are in restriction. It says to me that they are in malnutrition. So please, do not feel disheartened if you go to a medical professional and are faced with this BMI assessment. Please do not turn away and assume somebody has simply told you you don't have the illness that you think you have. It's okay to get a second and a third and a fourth and a fifth opinion. And it's okay to email the likes of me and say, can I talk to you about this? I believe myself to be struggling with an eating disorder. I want some support for this. That's what people like me are here for. That's what Wednesday's Child is all about. That's why we connect you to the network of practitioners and professionals that we do, because we care and we want more people to be well. I hope that helps. And to that family, good on you for walking straight out that door and making another appointment, and for agreeing to come to our next supportive supper. Thank you.